how's it going? It's Jiva and welcome to a new reading vlog. So I was actually just looking at my little to-be read shelf here in the corner of the room. So right here. These are some of like the books on my shelves that I'm the most excited about reading. And I was trying to decide what my first read of 2023 should be. But I'm kind of starting to realize there's definitely no competition because one book just ends up winning every single time I look at the shelf. And that book is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. So officially welcome to the Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn reading vlog. It is the sequel to Legendborn by Tracy Deonn, the second book in the Legendborn cycle, and I am beyond excited to finally be jumping into this book. Because Legendborn is actually one of my favorite books that I've read in the past couple of years. It is just that good. If you haven't heard about it before, what are you doing with life? You should be reading Legendborn and then continuing on with Bloodmarked. And yeah, this is your sign that you should go and actually look up what Legendborn is. It's actually about these characters. It's about a main character called Bree, and she and her best friend go to like a pre-college program, and Bree actually ends up stumbling across some magic and a secret society that she actually gets involved in because they might have or might not have something to do with her mother's death. So she's trying to figure that out while simultaneously falling in love and making friends and making enemies and discovering her own destiny. So very good. Like I said, one of the best books that's been released in the past 5 years for sure. So yeah, it is pretty hyped up, so there's very high chance that you've actually heard about it before, so this is kind of pointless. But today I'm actually gonna be starting the sequel, which is Bloodmarked. It's definitely been one of my most anticipated releases because of the way Legendborn ended. It ended on a bit of a, I wouldn't really say a cliffhanger, or is it a cliffhanger? Yeah, let's say it's a cliffhanger. So I feel very invested in whatever is going to go down in this book. That's why I'm gonna be picking it up now, opening 2023 with a bang. So yeah, I think this is gonna be like, this is possibly the best book you can pick up as the first book in a year, honestly. So yeah, I'm gonna jump into it now and I'm gonna let you know my thoughts. Should I make this a spoiler vlog? That's what I'm asking myself right now though. Okay everybody, so it has been decided that this is actually going to be a spoiler reading vlog for Legendborn and Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. So if you want to avoid spoilers about Legendborn and Bloodmarked, please click away from the video because I'm about to start talking spoilers. So go away. But do come back when you read the book if you want to discuss. So yeah, anyway, hi, I'm now actually read 176 pages of Bloodmarked. Let me tell you, this book does not disappoint. The opening of this book definitely does not disappoint because we basically pick up the story maybe a couple days, possibly a week or something like that. It hasn't been months, definitely not months. Like some days since the events of the end of Legendborn happened. And we have the characters basically dealing with the consequences of everything that was revealed. We have Bree dealing with finding out that, you know, she is actually the crown scion of Arthur. She's a descendant of Arthur, and she obviously has to carry the information of how that came to be. And she just has to deal with a lot. Alongside that, there's obviously also dealing with the death of her friends that were killed in the demon attack at the end of Legendborn, and of her boyfriend basically being kidnapped by his dad after his dad betrayed their entire order. So obviously we have a lot to deal with in the beginning of the story, but I am quite surprised that Bree is actually currently stuck in the situation that she's stuck in, because after being betrayed by one of the most prominent, seemingly like a very important figure in the order, she's still expected to actually trust the order. And once all these important people still show up to the order, you know, to the funeral, to obviously like meet Brianna, who's going to be their future king. And again, she is expected to freaking trust these people on site after being betrayed by one of them. Like, I did not believe it for a second. I did not trust these people for a second. And it turned out to be a smart thing because they turned into the biggest fucking bitches you can possibly imagine. Like, after Brianna was supposed to do right, which obviously, like, there were some complications. She wasn't ready to go through actually bonding with Arthur and becoming the king. Like, they just freaking turned on her. Reading chapter 16 was especially infuriating because of the way these freaking awful people acted toward Brianna when she confronted them about the way that she became, you know, the descendant of Arthur, which was through rape centuries back. And nobody is fucking willing to acknowledge it or even, like, I don't know, apologize. Like, there were so many things they could have done, but they freaking denied it and tried to gaslight Brianna and freaking acted in the most disgusting. Seriously, one of the most infuriating moments in here. So yeah, out of all like the new characters, I wrote some notes down here because there's a lot of new characters actually that we met, but from like the important ones, I don't really trust any of them. Like, none of them seem trustworthy. Possibly one of them might actually have Brianna's best like interest at heart, but even then it's kind of hard to tell whether he genuinely cares about Brianna or he's just like worried about Arthur. And his name is Erebus, I think. Erebus, is that how it's pronounced? So he seems like he might actually care about Brianna or possibly care about Arthur. It's honestly hard to tell at him. I think maybe some future chapters will reveal that. But during that chapter, he was the only one acting like a decent human being, basically. Not really saying anything, just kind of seemed like he was reflecting on what Brianna was saying. And then also, like, that chapter maybe possibly redeemed the character. It's a woman named Kestra. She was like one of the only other people willing to acknowledge why and how Brianna actually became the descendant of Arthur. But I don't like Kestra because in some like past scenes she's been acting like a total jerk toward Brianna, so I don't think she's gonna be an ally in this fight either. Erebus, he might be like on Brianna's side mainly because of who she is, but I don't think he really cares about her for real. Like I said, I'm not quite sure. Then we have the other characters are basically just disgusting. So the most disgusting one is called Tacitus? Is it Tacitus? I don't know. He's like the memory Merlin. He's the one who makes everybody forget all the important things, you know, the strongest mesmer in the order or something. He's a freaking psychopath. I'm pretty sure he's a freaking psychopath. And I'm kind of scared of seeing a scene where he and Brianna are alone in a room because he genuinely just gives me the freaking creeps. He is so freaking creepy. And the last chapter that I just read was like between him and Brianna, and I freaking got scared after hearing his words because I truly believe that he would like just open Brianna up and study her like in the living without any kind of sedative or something. He just seems like a freaking psycho, honestly. So yeah, it's been quite eventful, but I'm not really sure where we are going to go from here. So fortunately Brianna is now aware that they are not like on her side. They will not protect her, they don't care about her, they will not let her rule. So fortunately she knows this. She knows not to trust them. She knows not to trust the order, like the leaders of the order. So, but I honestly don't know where this is gonna take her from here. Hopefully she's gonna meet up with some of the other characters that I hope we can trust. Like basically the only people at this point I feel like we can trust. There's about 4 in here right now. I think we can, obviously, we have Brianna. We can trust Cell because he's definitely on Brianna's side. Like I honestly don't think Cell really cares about the order. I think the only 2 people he really cares about are Cell and possibly Nick. It's kind of hard to determine whether Cell cares about Nick, but I think he does. Deep down, he kind of does. And then we obviously have William, whom, like, after Brianna, he's just the best freaking character in here. He needs to be protected at all costs. I hope nothing bad happens to him. And then we also have the new guy. I kind of trust the new guy. He's like Larkin Douglas, so the new like Merlin, who was supposed to become Brianna's King's Mage. I kind of trust the guy. I don't know why. I just think he genuinely seems to care about Brianna up to this point. Like, he's shown nothing but respect for Brianna. He's tried to guide her through some moments where Brianna was gonna, you know, react emotionally. So he was kind of trying to help her react with a steady mindset and not reveal all her cards to the people that she really shouldn't be trusting. So yeah, I think he's gonna end up being trustworthy, I think. Like, I honestly wouldn't want Cell to become Brianna's King's Mage because that would put like an imbalance in their relationship. Because when it comes to like romantic relationships in here, obviously Brianna seems to be developing some kind of feelings for Cell as well. She obviously does love Nick, so it's possibly going to turn into this like love triangle thing. There's been little hints about a possibility of a love triangle. I don't really mind, But that's just because I don't really care who Brianna ends up with. I love both Sal and Nick, but if like Sal and Brianna want to have a relationship, they definitely shouldn't have a king and king's mage relationship as well, because that would put way too much imbalance in their relationship. So that would, I think, be bad for the romantic aspect of their relationship. So Larkin Douglas actually becoming Brianna's king's mage wouldn't be that bad. I don't know, I kind of like him. I liked him ever since that moment where he kind of started blushing around William, so I think he might actually be into William. And if that pairing were to end up happening, I would be so down for it. But I think William does have a boyfriend. I think it was mentioned in Legendborn that he's in a relationship. But like, maybe Lark and William could be a thing in the future. I don't know. They just seem like they would be a really good fit together. Okay, everybody, I'm not even joking. I seriously need people to stop fucking betraying Brie because it's getting out of hand. We had 2 new betrayals since the last update. First, we had the Jonas thing, which honestly, you would kind of expect that because he's a new character. He's obviously been through a lot. Like, I wasn't really shocked about his betrayal. Obviously, it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice at all. It came out of nowhere, but like at the end of the day, you know, his explanation kind of made sense. But then a few chapters later, we have fucking Selwyn Kane, the King's Mage that I thought we could trust since book 1. He truly seemed like he was on Brie's side. But then he does a shitty thing like mesmer her to not notice his descent into pneumonia. I truly thought I was gonna lose my shit when we have that revelation, because why would he do that? I can imagine his reasoning behind it. Obviously, if he's developing romantic feelings toward Brie, which there's been more and more signs that it is happening. He's definitely like slowly falling in love with Brie, and I love that for him. Truly, I love it. It's a very nice thing, you know. Well, I really like Sel. I've liked him since book 1. He kind of seemed like the most honest, trustworthy person since book 1. And I wouldn't mind actually him and Brie ending up together instead of Brie and Nick. Like, I truly don't have any preference in this newly developing love triangle. But even if he didn't want Brie to notice his descent into pneumonia, it was so messed up to mesmer her after everything she's been through with the Order, with Arthur, with everybody else. Truly the most stupid decision he could have made, and he made it. And now it's all out in the open, and I absolutely understand why Brie's so pissed off at him and why she would not trust him for a while, and why this is just gonna put a dent into the trust that they've slowly been building. In all these beautiful, honest moments that they've had all throughout the book, like, they definitely started trusting each other and relying on each other really heavily, and now this shit happens. Like, I can't fucking believe Sal that he would do something like that. Truly. And he knows Bree and her feelings about Arthur and possession and manipulation. And now he's just become another person who's trying to manipulate Bree for his own fucking gain. And it's kind of messed up, you know. The whole situation just turned very messy. But like that's what makes love triangles so interesting usually, because I kind of like that neither of the options. I mean, not that there is anything wrong with Nick, but now with Brie and Nick being both science, you know, the relationship gets a little bit trickier. And I kind of like how with this Cell's decision, like Cell doesn't become like an immediate kind of option that makes the most sense, because he's also, you know, his relationship with Brie just became a little bit tricky and messy. It's just gotten even more complicated, so kind of like that aspect. But yeah, still it was just not cool of Selwyn Kane to do that, you know. um so yeah, what else has happened? Like, if we're talking about romance, like I just want to mention that one moment we got between William and Lark. It was so freaking cute. It was such like a cool girl crush kind of moment when William tells him like just call me William, and Lark is all like schoolgirl blush situation thing going on, and he's just William. That was so freaking cute. And I like how a couple chapters later we do actually find out that William is currently single, possibly ready to mingle, but I don't think he's really ready to mingle, because he does seem to be going through his own, like, he's trying to work through all his emotions. So obviously he lost his squire during the battle in Legendborn, and apparently that hurts like a bitch when you lose your squire or your scion, you know, when the bond breaks. So obviously he's currently dealing with a lot. William seems to be going through a lot. But it does give me hope that he broke up with Dylan, his now ex-boyfriend, because Dylan was an outsider to the order. He didn't know his secrets. So hopefully, I don't think like he would have any objectives against dating Lark, possibly. I don't know how it works with a relationship between like a Scion and a Merlin, how that would work out. I truly don't know, but hopefully like nobody's gonna object to their relationship, because I truly think they would be so cute. I was so happy when Lark showed up with Selvin in front of that airplane, because it was confirmation that we can actually trust Lark. Like, I think that redeems him of any suspicion from before that we possibly could have had. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. I mean, he could possibly be evil if he's into William, you know. I don't think anybody who's into William could be an evil and a bad guy. But like, you never know, you know. This world is just full of surprises, so we never know who's gonna turn evil and who's gonna turn nice. You know what's funny? Actually, I just remembered thinking to myself before reading the chapter when, you know, when Sel's mesmer thing is revealed that he's been mesmering Bree. I actually remember thinking to myself like, oh my god, this book would have actually been a little bit more interesting if Selwyn wasn't like handling everything so well, if his descent to Demonia was actually a bit more fast acting. And then boom, like next chapter we actually have him revealed to be descending into Demonia a little bit faster than everybody was believing. It was just so funny to me, because it was also one of the most infuriating moments. But yeah, definitely the most fun part of the book so far has been the road trip that the characters went on. So we have William and Sel and Alice. Alice is another character that's trustworthy, which I think I forgot to mention before. She's definitely like Bree's best friend. I love how she's getting a more prominent role in the story. She's just so much fun. She's such a kick-ass character. So yeah, I love that we're actually taking her along on this journey. One more person Bree can freaking trust. Thank God. We need more of those people. But yeah, so their road trip was so funny, especially the banter between Sel and Alice, because they truly just don't seem to like each other. They seem to really dislike each other. And that just makes for some very funny banter. Then we have William kind of acting as a referee and just like Bree in the back either laughing or rolling her eyes. It truly was like a little family road trip moment, and I love that for them. Yeah, then enter obviously the Crossroads lounge thing. Crossroads Inn something? I don't know what exactly it's called, but that place was wild. It was freaking wild. It's definitely the first kind of more concrete moment that we have of figuring out how people outside of the Order and the Merlins and the whatever are actually perceiving magic and demons, and what their relationship is with everything. I definitely feel like in the first book we focused more on the Order, on learning about its rules. You know, Bree still had no idea about her own powers. I kind of like that now we're getting a chance to actually explore outside of the order and what the rules outside of the order are and how everybody, what their relationship with magic is, who has magic, who doesn't. We obviously have met more root crafters. So Bree now met 2 new root crafters, or one, Lucille, but Mariah is somebody she's known before. And I like that they've actually taken up the opportunity to actually train Bree. Bree is finally gonna get some training. I've been so infuriated with people denying her any kind of real training, which I guess in a way it makes sense because obviously everybody and their mother is trying to just manipulate Bree, and she would be much harder to manipulate if she actually knew how to control her powers. I think she would be too powerful for them to manipulate and try to control, so that's why everybody has been denying her any actual training. There was Arthur who actually offered her to help her with her skills. I don't blame Bree for refusing because like possession doesn't sound cool at all. It doesn't sound any fun. So I kind of understand why she's like, nope, not happening. But now hopefully this is actually gonna give Bree an opportunity because she's gonna be developing her root craft. So part of her root craft is being a medium. And I think if Bree actually becomes able to control her medium powers, she might actually agree to allow Arthur to actually, like, I don't know, possess her and teach her how to control her Arthur side of the powers, you know, her Scion powers. Because as a medium, she's gonna be able to just kick him out whenever she feels like it. So hopefully some good things will actually come out of this, like, rootcraft training. And obviously Bree needs a chance to actually protect herself. That's what makes her such an easy target and why people have betrayed her so many times now, because she doesn't have the ability to actually protect herself, because nobody has fucking trained her in how to protect herself against these people that are way more powerful than her or have been in the game for way longer than her and actually know how to, you know, use their abilities and stuff. So I just wish Bree to be able to protect herself against these people, and one way to do that is to actually train her powers. Hopefully she's gonna train her powers to become the most powerful being in the world, because she's definitely like a combination of some of the most powerful forces out there. You know, she has her rootcraft, she has her bloodcraft, and once she actually learns how to combine that, she's gonna be unstoppable. And I truly believe she's gonna go after the order after that. Because I've been thinking there's no real reason or like anything for the order to exist, because at this point they actually don't really contribute to the war against demons. I feel like their mission has completely lost their conscious mind. All they seem to care about is like staying in power, staying in control, continue living with their influence over people, and they genuinely, like, they don't seem to care about demons attacking innocent people. They just don't seem to care. The only people who still seem to care about it are the Scions and their squires and the people fighting the actual war. So I truly believe there is no point in the order still existing, and I hope Bree actually demolishes every single thing, every single rule the order has actually set in place. I just can't wait for the moment where Bree actually comes back to the order, knowing exactly how powerful she is and showing everybody that she is the most powerful member of the fucking order and that she doesn't need them. It actually reminds me of a quote in here that's been mentioned a couple of times now. I think it's first said by from Arthur to Bree. It's something along the lines like the dragon protects like his own and then burns the rest. And I truly believe that to become like Bree becoming the dragon, and she's gonna like protect the people who have been for the right cause since the beginning, the people who have been fighting beside her against the demons, and then she's just gonna burn the rest, which is basically the order and everybody else who only cares about the power and the influence and the money and whatever the fuck they care about. So yeah, I'm definitely just very impressed with this book once again. Legendborn already blew me away. This book is almost blowing me away even better because we get to explore just so much more than what the first book did. Obviously the first book was so good. It did such a good job to introducing us to this world and still keeping it very action-packed. But this book just brings so much more to the table. No pun intended. Pun intended, a little bit. Another infuriating moment I actually remembered right now was between William, Sal, Alice, and Bree. So Bree had this moment of realizing or kind of reflecting on her powers and why exactly she has these powers and what her role in the world is going to be because of these powers. especially after she had a talk with Vera. And she came back to the group of friends, you know, to Williams, Helen, Alice, and she had this moment of determination that she's going to actually go out there, fight for the people that she loves. She had this kind of like very confident moment, only for her friends to freaking rip it out of her hands. And I hated that, because I think what Brie definitely needs right now is to feel a little bit more in control. And that moment, trying to actually be very proactive, was her moment of trying to take that control back. Everybody has been trying to take that control away from her, and here in this moment we had her friends doing the exactly same thing. They just all ended up ganging up on her, and I really didn't like that moment, because Brie definitely needed it. Like, she's gonna be a future king. She needs that confidence. She needs to feel in control. I guess we're gonna see in the future whether it was a good idea or not, but I don't know. I just definitely needed Brie to kind of win that argument, just for the sake of her feeling in control, and like she actually can be confident in her own abilities and decisions. So yeah, I wasn't really fine with that. Brie has obviously like forgiven her friends for that now, but I just wish that fight kind of would have gone over a little bit differently. Okay, everybody, so is it just me, or do things after the crossroads in just go from pretty bad to so much worse? There were some revelations, okay? Those revelations were freaking insane. So first thing that kind of followed up in the next chapter after the previous update was revealing that Brie and her entire like Vera ancestor line has actually been bloodmarked by a freaking demon. And not just that, it's not just like bloodmark, it's actually an unregulated bloodmark, an unregulated deal with the devil. So we don't even freaking know what exactly the price for the power that the line of Vera has received is going to be. We don't know what the price is going to be, what the price the demon is going to demand from, you know, Brie now, apparently, because we also met the hunter. So we have the Demon King in flesh here with Brie, and I'm actually kind of excited about it, because I'm personally of the opinion that any book, no matter how good already, can actually be improved by introducing a demon character who seems to be one of the good guys. So I don't really know about the hunter, whether he's a good guy. I mean, he's a demon, he's the Demon King, so he's not really supposed to be a good guy. But I have a feeling I'm actually going to be rooting for him in the next book, especially if he's going to become Brie's tutor, which everybody and their freaking mother literally has refused to do so far. I haven't been as frustrated as I was when we finally have Brie meeting all of her ancestors up to Vera, and all of them refusing to help Brie learn how to control her power. I do not understand their motivation, because obviously Brie is already in mortal danger. Everybody is already after her. Everybody is trying to control her and manipulate her and even take her powers, or like diminish her powers or whatever. So how much more in danger could she possibly be if she actually learned how to control her powers and use her powers to protect herself? You know, the hunter is gonna show up either way, I feel like, if Brie uses her magic without knowing how to control it, or to actually learn how to control it and actually know how to protect herself. So yeah, I don't really like the motivation and the reasoning that the ancestors gave her, because it just left Brie confused and angry and scared. It just truly didn't seem to help her at all. So I wish at least one of them would have given her some tips and actually taught her how to control her powers. So yeah, that was kind of frustrating, but at least we now have one character, finally, 2 books, and now we have at least one character willing to actually teach her control. So Erebus is gonna be Erebus. Guys, I told you there was something so suspicious about his behavior toward Brie when she was locked up at the Order, you know, facility. So yeah, there was something about his behavior toward Brie that just wasn't like the other regents. So there was something very suspicious about him. And I'm kind of glad that like my spidey senses didn't betray me, that he is actually the Demon King. He's gonna be, no, he's been after Brie, I guess. I don't know. I kind of didn't fully understand that part of the story, but is the price that the Demon King is asking for, you know, for the deal that he made with Vera, receiving Brie's power? Like, is that the price? Does he just want her power, or what exactly is it? Because I'm not entirely sure I understood that part. I'm gonna have to go back and reread it. I'm gonna be rereading the whole story anyway at some point in the next couple of months. But yeah, that was the part that kind of confused me the most. So I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, he's just, you know, Erebus has now become like one of the most interesting characters in the stories, and I just hope that he's gonna do well with Bree, and that Bree is just gonna come back from the deal stronger than ever and ready to face all her enemies and actually burn them the heck down. Because yeah, even Arthur, who Bree was actually starting to trust just a little bit, was really manipulating. Oh my god, he turned into the biggest fucking asshole this story has seen so far. I can't believe he did that to her. Like, I honestly, I'm gonna admit it, I was starting to trust Arthur at least a little bit. I thought he cared about, you know, the war and actually helping out Bree winning the war and also the war against the Order, but he's freaking another one of these power hungry Order people. Like, he just cares about being the one in charge, basically having the power, having control over everybody. He's just no better than anybody else, especially when he kicked out Bree. He freaking locked Bree up in his little sleepers and took over her life. We are left with a couple of characters in here, not knowing what exactly their fate is going to be. First, we have Alice, who obviously she was hurt. She got healed by William, but the ether is doing something to her body. My theory is that she's just gonna turn into something magical that nobody has really seen before. Don't know what it's gonna be. Don't know how she's gonna react to it. Whether she's still gonna be, you know, the good Alice, the smart, bright, very observant Alice. She's actually one of my favorite characters after this book. She was so freaking badass, and I really hope her and Bree actually get an opportunity to go on like a duo mission by themselves, because I truly believe they're gonna kick ass. So yeah, I'm kind of scared of what's gonna happen to her actually. And the other character that we're kind of uncertain what's gonna happen to is Sel. So we have Selwyn Kane turning into a demon. Is it like that, or is it just that like Demonia took over the human part? Something like that, right? He's now more demon than human, and I don't honestly know what to expect in future books. He's now obviously been sent off to his mother, who hopefully will be able to send to help him. But I think he's gonna still have some interactions with Bree while being in his Demonia state. I don't think the reversal process is gonna be quite so easy. But I also have a theory that Bree is actually gonna be the crucial part of actually turning his like humanity back on. I don't know why, but I kind of think of this Demonia human thing that Sal is going through, kind of like flipping the switch in the Vampire Diaries, kind of like just turning your humanity on and off. That's kind of how I imagine this Selwyn situation, even though it's probably very different, but it's just it's stuck in my mind and I can't shake it. So yeah, don't know, we're gonna see. I really hope we get to see Sal's mom actually in the next book, because she seems like a cool lady, and I hope she's gonna be able to help Sal in some way to get back to his human side. So yeah, we also got Nick back. So yeah, the attack on Nick happened actually first off, and Nick ended up killing somebody. So right now I think Nick was rushing back to the Order, high on adrenaline, trying to save Bree, so I don't think he's fully processed everything that's happened yet. First off, we had his father sacrificing his life for you know, for Nick, so I think he's gonna have to deal with that, maybe possibly feel a bit guilty about that. But then also killing somebody. I think he killed one of the Merlins of the Order, right? So I think it's gonna hit him pretty hard. I think it's gonna definitely send him on a spiral that's definitely gonna change his character a lot. Could possibly also turn into the reason why there's gonna be some rising tensions between Bree and Nick, because like we now have officially a love triangle. Honestly, the love triangle, I didn't fully buy it because Bree, like, she seems like the most moral of the characters in here, so I just find it so unbelievable that she was still developing this feelings towards Sal while her still boyfriend, even though their future is uncertain, was kind of in danger. I just didn't buy that like Bree would still be like looking at Sal this way while she didn't really know whether Nick was going to survive throughout the night. So I found it a little bit funny that that was happening. Obviously, Sal and Bree started developing something toward each other in book 1 already, and there I found it very believable. Like, they were kind of each other's only allies, you know, they could share some things with each other that they couldn't really share with Nick, so I could understand that. But the development in this book just kind of threw me off a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But it's an interesting dynamic because not only does Bree have a relationship with each of the male characters, also like Nick and Sal have a very complicated relationship. So I think that makes this love triangle a little bit more, I don't know, high stakes or like more complicated and more complex than some of the other like love triangles that I can remember reading. So I think it's just gonna be interesting to kind of see how everything turns out and how everything develops. I personally right now don't know who Tracy Deonn might actually be like rooting for or hoping to be endgame for Bree. Right now it still could be either of the characters, so we're gonna see. I personally would love to see Bree with Sal just because they kind of make more sense to me than Nick and Bree do. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The ending of the story was pretty intense. We do also meet some new characters at the very end, the Morgaines. We do meet Arthur, like the original Morgaine, who is Arthur's half-sister. And she seemed like a decent character. We don't really learn much about her, we just get like a couple of glimpses. But she seemed like a decent character, and now her descendant also do seem to be fighting for the right cause, which is the ending of the Order. This should be on everybody's priority list right now, the ending of this Order. And also obviously the war, you know, ending the war. So hopefully one is gonna go hand in hand with the other, and that by finishing the war, also the Order is actually going to like just disband. So yeah, I just need the Morgaines, who currently don't really seem to like Bree. Obviously she is Arthur's descendant, so she's kind of like the key to ending the Eternity spell and the war. And they don't really seem to like her right now, but I hope they realize that they are fighting for basically the same cause, and that they're actually gonna join forces and do some damage. So yeah, that's pretty much it though. I don't have any theories right now because honestly I was reading the book through for the first time. There's probably a lot of things that I missed. I was barely able to process everything that was already happening, let alone like notice any small like hints about what the future could bring. So I'm definitely gonna be reading the story very soon, hopefully in the next couple of months, possibly go through Legendborn once again. And yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. So yeah, that's gonna be also it for this reading vlog. Thank you so much for joining me. Definitely let me know if you have any of your own theories, whether there were some, like what was your favorite part of the story? Are you Team Sal or Team Nick? I'm also excited. Oh yeah, I don't think I talked about William and Lark. Not that there was really much to mention, but I do want to say that like their relationship is one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to seeing develop in future books. Possibly if they're gonna happen. I want to see them so badly. I think they would be so good for each other. So yeah, and that finishes off my thoughts. I had a really fun time reading this story, and I'm glad this was my first book of 2023. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna be signing off. Thank you so much for joining me and checking out this reading vlog. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are, and I'm gonna see you in my next video. So till then, bye bye.